You mentioned cover two, Tampa two. You know, you're the architect, you and Monty. I often think about how similar was Tampa two that you were playing in the mid '90s down there to the cover two that you guys played in Pittsburgh. Is it the exact same defense?
It was stolen out of the 1977 playbook. I had my playbook there. We wrote it exactly that way. I went to Minnesota, and I didn't know anything about over and under front, up front. And I knew about cover two. Monty Kiffin was there already, and he had done a great job in the run game with the fronts, and he had never played cover two. So we get together. My first year as defensive coordinator, he teaches me the run fronts. I teach him the coverage, and we end up leading the NFL in defense with the Vikings. Now, we've got Chris Dolman and John Randall and Henry Thomas and some really, really good players. But people hadn't seen that in about 15 years. So we have some success with it. Monty agrees to come with me to Tampa and put it in. And we put it in exactly like we put it in Minnesota, exactly like we played it in Pittsburgh. But now we've got John Lynch, Derek Brooks, Warren Sapp. We draft Rondé Barber. We just have the right personnel, the right mentality with the right X's and O's.
Yeah. You know, the signature piece for everybody is that deep Mike linebacker.
Yes.
And I'm assuming that's Lambert in Pittsburgh.
Yes.
And then you have some great ones in Minnesota and Tampa.
We put it in, and nobody played too deep. Everybody played three deep, so you had a middle safety protecting that middle of the field. Well, we played two deep. We had a great pass rush. People didn't have time. But what they started doing, well, you can't throw outside on that, so you've got to attack down the middle. So everybody starts drafting these tight ends that can get down the middle. Cleveland drafts Ozzie Newsome, and the Raiders draft Raymond Chester, and Russ Francis, and all these athletic guys who are going to get down the middle. So we start getting hit, and we say to our middle linebacker, Jack Lambert, if that number two tight end goes down the middle, you've got to go with him. So he's covering Ozzie Newsome 40 yards down the field, a big 6'5" frame. But again, nobody, I guess maybe they didn't have a Jack Lambert, so nobody did that for years until we got back to Minnesota. Well, now I get to Tampa, and we've got Hardy Nickerson, our captain, who played for me in Pittsburgh, knew the defense, understood what it was. He became that middle dropper, and everybody said, oh, this is Tampa, too. We've never seen a middle linebacker do this before. And Hardy and I would just laugh and say, well, you may not have seen it, but there has been a middle linebacker that did that before.
Isn't that funny? It's funny. I used to always make the argument that, you know, you talk about Tampa 2 and the scheme and what's on the page and the responsibilities, but what made Tampa 2 great was how you guys played it. The speed, the get off, the pass rush, the sprint to the ball, the no loafs, all that stuff. That's really what the defense is.
That's what it was all about. And we told people it's not coverages, it's not X's and O's, it's how you do it. And I got to tell you a Rod Marinelli story that really started things off. We're playing the Minnesota Vikings, and Robert Smith is a Big Ten sprint champion, 100-meter champion.
Yeah.
He breaks a run around the left side. Warren Sapp from his defensive line position runs and catches him at the 10-yard line. And unbelievable. 300-pound guy catching the Big Ten sprint champion at the 10-yard line. We watched the film the next day. Rod Marinelli runs it back, says, Warren, that's a loaf. Sapp gets up and says, I caught the fastest man in the NFL, and you calling it a loaf? How can you call it a loaf? And he runs the film back. He said, look at you right here. Now, watch you change. You changed speeds right there. You picked up speed.
Change of speeds.
If you'd have been running fast the whole way, you'd have caught him at the 15-yard line instead of the 10. That's a loaf. And Sapp looked at him and sat down, and he had no argument. So that became the standard for our team, our defense. If you're ever seen on film changing speed, if you slow down, that's obviously a loaf. But if you speed up, that means you weren't going 100% at the beginning. So that's a loaf. That became our signature.
Yeah. You know, Ron obviously was our defensive coordinator in Dallas. And, you know, we had the sign on the wall. What is a loaf, right? Change of speed was one of the criteria. Yeah. It's great, though, because, you know, you don't always win the games. But at the end of the day, when you coach that way and you play that way and your team responds that way, you can sleep well at night.
Yes.
Because you're doing it the right way.
Yep. And even when we weren't winning, I knew it would come.